Hello and welcome to Never Scream It! This is a podcast about movies that we haven't seen. My name is Betsy and I am your host on this journey today. And with me as always is Trent.
Back in high school.
We're back in high school. We're back in the 90s. Today for our Never Scream It episode, we are doing from 1996, The Craft.
Technically, we were both in high school in the 90s, so that counts.
We weren't in high school in 1996, however.
No, we were not. 1999.
Soon. But that is not the point.
That's
Today
right.
we are going to high school. We are watching The Craft, a movie that I have seen many, many times. And in all our years together and all the years before that, back to 96, Trent has never seen The Craft.
That's why we're doing it.
So Trent, tell the people, what do you know about The Craft?
It is a proto-Charmed for me because, believe it or not, I was kind of way into the show Charmed.
You're allowed.
Back in the 90s and
like
2000s.
What you like, Trent.
I was really into that show, and I don't know if there's any direct inspiration from The Craft or if it was just in the lexicon, but it's a bunch of girls in high school, and they fuck around with the occult, and they put spells on people, and they get into a circle, and they have seances. I don't know. I'm just spouting nonsense here.
Well, there's one specific word we could call them.
They're witches?
They're witches!
Oh, okay.
Yes, they are practicing witchcraft, if you want to get very technical. This is not a
Okay,
spoiler.
thank you.
It's right in the trailer.
It's in the title. Thank you.
Yes, witchcraft. Craft. Get it?
Yeah.
See what's happening? Do you know who's in this movie?
Yes, Betsy. There are 4 main witches. 3 of them we have featured on this show before, and 1 of them we have not. I only remember 2 of the names for sure. Neve Campbell was in Scream, and she was in Wild Things, the 2 other movies we've covered. Fairuza Balk is the one we haven't actually covered yet on anything, but I know her from 2 other things. She was a minor character in American History X. She was also in The Waterboy.
So you know who she is.
I know who she is, but she's very much an indie darling. She's not really in a lot of studio films. The other one that I know was also in Half Baked as the girlfriend as Mary Jane. I don't know what the actress's name is, and the other gal we covered in Empire Records. I don't know what her name is either.
We touched on this when we did Empire Records. It's Robin Tunney. She was making this movie around the same time that she was making that movie.
Yeah, and we mentioned that she shaved her head for Empire Records, and she's wearing a wig in this movie. Is she not?
So my favorite topic, is it a wig? We get to play that in this movie where you can tell me if you can tell that what she's wearing is a wig. Because I'm going to tell you.
Me in particular, because I don't notice things like that.
I always notice if someone is wearing a lousy wig. And I know for a fact, because of Empire Records, that she shaved her head and that she is wearing a wig in this movie.
All right.
So you just get to play, can you tell? Can you tell it's a wig? There are a couple other people that you'll definitely recognize.
I'm sure.
But 1996, these people were not major stars. This is pre-Scream. This is mid-Empire Records, which, as we touched on, was not really that famous. Fairuza Balk had done Return to Oz in the 80s. She had been a child actor, but I don't know how much she had done in the 90s. So there's kind of a lot of things going on here. This is one I've seen many times. I'm excited. Do you know anything else about what goes down in this movie?
No, it's just a bunch of the generic witchcrafty things. There's probably a Ouija board in here somewhere. I think there's the whole thing about light as a feather, stiff as a board, where you're trying to levitate somebody. Other than that, no, it's just a bunch of that kind of shit.
Well, all right. Let's go check out that bunch of shit. We're gonna watch The Craft, and we will be right back. And we are back. That was The Craft from 1996. Trent, are you filled with the spirit?
Betsy, I feel like this movie set the cause of goth girls everywhere back about 20 years.
Oh no!
And I love me a goth girl. In my heart of hearts, that is my type. Betsy is not a goth girl, but
no.
This is the situation I'm in. But the movie itself, I had a really good time. This was better than what I expected, but the problem I have with this movie is that the goth girls, the craft, these three witches ended up being the bad guys. I don't like that.
Well, it's that whole thing about absolute power corrupts absolutely.
You're
because
right.
At the beginning of the movie, these three girls are the weirdos and the outcasts, and they just kind of hang out in the corner, and they don't really attract attention to themselves if they can help it. It's the other girl who comes in, the fourth member of their group, who brings in the power, who gives them the abilities.
Yeah, she's a natural witch.
They don't actually have any powers of their own. It's not until she gets there that they kind of leech off of her.
Yeah.
And they get a little bit, and they turn into terrible teenage monsters. And so they kind of get what's coming to them by the end of it.
You're right. They abuse their power. They do not, take this power responsibly. They don't use it responsibly. They're using it for vindictive means.
Yeah, they show how each of them has kind of a crap life. You've got one who's really scarred up. You've got one who's being racially bullied. You've got one who lives in a trailer park and she's really poor. And they all find a way to make that situation better by punishing someone else or by asking for it. So Bonnie doesn't punish anybody to get her scars taken away.
Yeah.
But once she gets her scars removed, once they disappear, she becomes not a bimbo, but she becomes really forward and nice ass honey. And she's just I don't know, showing off her body, and she gets really intense very quickly. She becomes very vapid and stupid. She used to be really nice.
Yeah.
And then the other girl, she wishes for her bully to lose all of her hair. And it's fucking traumatic. Watching Christine Taylor, losing her hair throughout this movie. It's not done in a way that's haha, she's getting what's hers. At first, you feel that way because you identify with Rochelle. But by the end, you're just kind of shit, this has gone really far.
Hey, maybe this went a little bit too far, and she deserves some bad shit to happen to her because she's a racist asshole, but maybe this is a bit too far. She needs to be taught a lesson, but not like that.
Meanwhile, Nancy just goes insane.
Yeah.
She just goes insane, straight up.
Yeah.
And she's about to, murder somebody. So
she does murder somebody.
Well, kind of.
Chris is fucking dead.
She didn't physically shove him out of the window. She never touched him.
No, you can't prove that in a court of law.
Projectile threw him out with her mind powers.
Yeah, no. She fucking murdered Chris. Come on.
She murdered him a little bit. A little bit. But the point is, the three of them are totally fine at the beginning, and where you don't like them being the villains, it's well, that's what happens when you don't take this responsibility to heart, if you don't respect it, if you don't try to follow some rules. They're not even that great at the beginning. They're stealing shit from that store.
Yeah.
They're not great people.
Again, they don't deserve the things that happen to them in the end, especially not Nancy. Because, Nancy comes from this white trash family with no father and a drunk mother who is apparently a sex worker, and
there's a
Nancy
joke
is
about
maybe
it.
a trick baby. I don't know.
There is a joke about it. I think her stepdad or father figure, whatever he is, the boyfriend.
Yeah.
He's just kind of an asshole, and he's saying shitty things.
Yet another Dead Like Me alumni. That guy.
This is the theme we have gone along.
Yeah. But what I'm saying here is that she doesn't completely deserve to be basically committed to a mental institution because of all the different things that she does. She deserves to be taught a lesson, but she needs to be taught responsibility for all these things that they're doing.
But she's genuinely insane at the end of the movie, so she kind of needs to be getting some help in some capacity.
True. She does, summon a demon and get all that happen to him. Again, 2 different movies back to back with being possessed by a demon.
Listen, now that we've watched these 2 movies, Jennifer's Body and The Craft, so soon together, I'm realizing how much they kind of drew from The Craft to make Jennifer's body. Like, there's a lot of things that you can correlate between the two.
There's some archetypes here that a lot of different movies take from, so I'm not going to say that they're that related, but you're right. There is some similarities here because you have the one friend who's on one social platform, and we have another friend who is on the lower scale, but they're still friends and they use each other.
They also kind of go after one guy. The guys in this movie are the victims to some extent.
Yeah.
The only people who die are men.
You're right.
There are 3 guys who die. One gets hit by a truck, one gets pushed out a window, and one is induced to a heart attack.
I guess you're right.
So I'm just saying, as these women start standing up for themselves and fighting back against their bad situation, the only people who get punished are the men.
Yeah, and I think it is more to the fact that these are teenagers and they don't know how to use these powers yet. They don't know like the responsibility. These 3 never really had anything happen to them until this new girl comes to town who is quote unquote a natural witch, which I don't really think they go that much into. Like, the only exposure that I have with this kind of content, I mentioned it in the beginning. I watched a fuckload of Charmed, and there is a whole lot of this movie in Charmed. I'll say that.
To the extent that this movie was going to be adapted into a TV show, and it got rejected, and then miraculously, a little show called Charmed shows up not that long later that is strikingly similar and uses the same song for its theme.
Yeah. We'll get into Charmed in a little bit, but my exposure to this kind of thing comes from that show. And in that show, there's a lot of stuff about the power of 3. And I know that is somewhere in witchcraft that is a thing.
They consulted some witches.
Yeah, these 3 girls who came in before Sarah showed up, they had their own little coven, but then Sarah came in and made it 4, which is, I guess you can make more power. You can make better spells with 4 than you can 3. I don't really know.
Well, you get all 4 points, the north, south, east, west of it.
Yeah.
Earth, air, water, fire, all of those things.
All of those
It's always
elements.
4. But they do make the reference in this movie, too. Anything you send out comes back times 3.
Yeah, there's a lot of 3 references in both properties. Mm-hmm. And also a similar thing between these two things. Number 1, women. Women are the most powerful beings in this entire universe. Like, in Charmed, they have, like, actual powers. Like, one of them has the ability to throw fucking fireballs. One of them has, like, premonitions about what's going to happen. Another one can, like, teleport themselves and other things. And in this, it's more like the stereotypical witch stuff, like floating and incantations and putting a love spell on somebody, and it's minor things.
It's a little more, I guess, realistic, if you want to call a movie that's about magic and witches realistic.
It's more innocent anyway.
Yeah.
Like in Charmed, like their entire thing is they get their powers passed down from their mothers and their grandmothers and everything else.
Listen, this is a very common thing in witchcraft and movies and TV shows about witchcraft.
Yeah.
We were kind of talking about it between the movie finishing and the start of this, just how in the 90s, around this time, there was a lot of properties using this kind of thing. Another one I just thought of, apart from Charmed, obviously we had Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yep.
Practical Magic came out not that long after this.
I suppose,
It's not a show about witches, but there are witches in it. Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
And Buffy is less about witches and more like, hey, these like warlock creatures and...
But it's supernatural stuff.
It's supernatural creatures.
And if you really want to take it back farther, in 1993 is when the X-Files started.
Yeah,
so
and it was wildly popular.
It was wildly popular. There was just this kind of rush to get as many supernatural things as they could.
Yeah, there was a fervor
in production.
Yeah.
So this is where we're getting that ripple effect. 1996 was also the year Independence Day came out. And, The Fifth Element came out a couple years after this. And all these, like, aliens and spooky...
Mars Attacks.
Shit. Yeah, Mars Attacks came out in 96, I think.
Yeah.
So it's not a coincidence. Like the thing you said about... In this movie, Sarah's mom was a witch, so she is born a witch. Same thing in Practical Magic. It's 2 aunts and their nieces, and then the nieces' daughters, and all of them have a similar look, and they all have magic.
It's all about female empowerment.
In Charmed,
Yeah, but in this, it's all an excuse. It is witchcraft. It's not actually them being powerful. They have to use like spells and like evil incantations and shit like that. It's not them being powerful themselves.
But that's how this movie starts, is they're just trying to empower themselves. It's not until it expands beyond that circle, because like the first time they actually do anything, when they're playing light as a feather, stiff as a board, and Rochelle is floating.
Which I called, by the way.
They are so fucking surprised that it worked. Like, it's a little thing for them, but they've never been able to do anything of consequence to this point.
And of course, this is because Sarah is there. She is lending her power to the rest of them.
But as it progresses, it becomes more and more malicious. Like, they don't know how to, like, stop it. You can't throw the spell out there and then turn the spell off.
Yeah, and they learn that as time goes on.
They learned that the hard way.
Yeah, with the whole Chris thing. But as we were watching this, I had a question. The progression of the movie itself, I had a problem with, because I didn't know what the end game was going to be. I didn't know, okay, what is this all leading up to? Like, we had the big incantation where Nancy gets fucking struck by lightning and they all pass out, and then we wake up the next day and she's Jesus walking on water.
That's a thing she does.
You know? Like, I from that point on, I figured, okay, maybe they're just going to do bigger and bigger things, and there's going to be something bad that happens, and they all learn their lesson, and they're going to, maybe there's like a fucking demon that they have to go and fight. Like, she gets infected with a demon, and they have to fight him. Like,
exorcise her demon.
I was creating a Charmed episode in my head as I was watching this, because that's what they do in that show.
But that's because those women are sisters and bonded, and they'll do anything to protect each other. In this scenario, the fact that it's in high school has all of the relevance in the world, because they just turn into a bunch of mean girls.
Yeah.
And they're catty bitches. And it's like, well, you're not my friend anymore, and we're going to kick you out of the group. But instead of just stopping, any interaction and not talking to her, they decide to kill her. Like, that's the obvious, logical, next progressive thought.
Right. And like, they are, like, number one, threatening to kill her first, like when she's, like, sitting in the toilet.
Yep.
They come up to her and say, you should probably reconsider going to school here, or maybe you should leave town, or maybe leave Earth. Like, what the fuck? Where the hell did this come from? Like, they get so, like, empowered, for lack of a better word.
They go power mad.
Yeah. They think, oh, we have all this power now. We're going to dictate all this stuff, and you're not going to be able to leave the coven, number one. And number two, if you try to, we're going to pin this fucking murder on you.
We got what we needed from you, and now we don't need you anymore. We can do it without you. Like, at the beginning of the movie, they're following her around like, oh, please be our fourth. You're her. We need you. Right. And then by the end, they're like, oh, we don't need you anymore. You're so pathetic. You haven't done anything of consequence.
Yeah, and I think that's where I have a real problem with this movie. I didn't want it to be a high school, like, bitchy, catty kind of thing.
You wanted to root for them all.
I wanted them to fucking kick ass and beat down some fucking demons and whatever the fuck else that these empowered women are wanting to do. But no, these are teenagers and they suck.
And they kind of take each other out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like this. I wanted to root for these people. I wanted to root for them being a bigger and badder witch. But no, I didn't get that.
No, because that's not the point of the movie. The point of the movie is that Sarah, who is arguably the strongest among them, is really weak, and she doesn't know how to accept these powers. And she spends the whole movie just sort of half-assing everything she's doing with these girls. They're like, okay, we're going to do this. And they're preaching, oh, hail to the guardians of the North. And she's like, hail to the guardians of the South. Like, she's so not interested in this.
She's not into the ritualistic nature of it because she has it innate inside of her.
Right, but the way she just sort of clomps around this movie and barely chants along, and she always kind of thinks they're a little bit too far out there for her. It's not until they actually manage to start making things happen that she kind of gets on board. But even then, she says, now we're kind of going a little far. She's the voice of reason.
It's kind of like that Matt Damon scene in Good Will Hunting. You know this stuff? You know how easy this is? This is fucking bullshit. This is so simple for me, and I can't just stand here, watch you fuck up with this. It's kind of like that.
Eventually it is. Not at the beginning. Like at the beginning, she's like, yeah, I'm good at this, but I don't know why or where it comes from.
Sure.
And it's not until she really like accepts herself for who she is, does she overcome, I guess, if you will, and defeat the bad guy or defeat the demon within. I don't know what metaphor you'd like to use.
Yeah.
But since we're talking about Sarah, we brought it up in the intro.
Yep.
The wig. How did you feel about her hair?
So I noticed it very, very, very early on in the movie when she is in the fucking taxi approaching the new house that is apparently a piece of shit.
You mean the first time she's on the screen?
First time she's on screen. I can see through the taxi window. Her hairline is terrible.
It's kind of a weird placement, and then her bangs sort of go vertical.
Yeah, and the rest of her hair just doesn't move with her throughout the rest of the movie.
It's not a great wig. Like, I always, when I watched this movie in like the 90s, 2000s, I always thought her hair looked kind of weird. I always thought that. But it wasn't until much later that I actually got the confirmation that it was a wig, and here's why it was a wig. But now I can't unsee it. And I just spend this whole movie going, she's wearing a wig, she's wearing a wig, she's wearing a wig, she's wearing a wig. And then they have the scene where they learn about glamours and she turns her hair blonde. Now, you can give them a pass. It was the 90s. We just used a goofy filter to make her hair blonde.
Yeah.
So it looks terrible.
That looked bad.
But it emphasizes that much more how bad this wig is.
How unnatural it looks.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's a cool shot, like when she shakes her hair out and it turns back to brown.
That was cool.
I really wish they would go and like do this better now. Can we get
possible.
like a refinished version of the craft? Like most of the special effects I can just forgive as being 1996.
Honestly, the rest of them look pretty good.
Most of them, not bad. Most of them are even stuff that you've seen it, like, slow motion rolling clouds or
that
sped
stuff,
up
that
and
stuff looked bad, yeah.
And, okay, here's a mirror and,
she's walking out of the mirror, yeah.
It's the stuff you expect to see, and it's fine. It's not good. I will give you a pass, though. 1996.
Yeah. And like
it doesn't look the worst it could look.
The practical things that they did, like when the one girl was floating, there was actually a rod underneath her and they took that out in post. I looked underneath her. I didn't see anything, so it looked real. Also at the end of the movie, like all of the times where they're kind of in the air. Again, another movie where people are kind of just floating. It's not that impressive.
It's not that impressive, Trent.
But again, you can always really tell in movies where you're just wearing a harness and there's strings that they're taking out in post. That didn't look like this here.
No. But another moment at the end of the movie, Sarah is being attacked by Nancy, and she also is a kicker. So I'm just saying, it's little things like that, intentional or not. I just see a lot of things that they are drawing out from the craft that are also in Jennifer's body.
I get it.
That's what I'm saying.
Also, that as long as we're talking about that exact scene, when she does kick her into the mirror, all of the effects of the glass, the mirror pieces, the shards,
it's kind of metaphor.
Raining down, continuing to rain down.
Yes, in like a weird other post shot that they did on a sound set somewhere.
Yeah,
it's
just
very cheesy.
Composite in after the fact. Yeah.
All right, so we've kind of talked a little bit about a couple of the people who are in this movie, but let's talk more broadly about the actors in this. So Robin Tunney, we knew about in advance.
Yep.
We also knew Neve Campbell. We knew the four leads.
She is super young here. Like Neve Campbell, I don't think I've seen her in anything else prior to this, and she looks like a baby.
Well, she was already on Party of Five at this point because that started in '94.
Yeah, she got cast after the guy, so like the casting director or somebody, saw the pilot of Party of Five.
And then she got this role because of it.
Yeah.
Well, and if she didn't get her role in Scream from the lone part of this movie where she is screaming, we get her guttural full-throated screaming in this movie. And it's good. She's got a great scream.
For good reason. Good God. The needle thing going into her back.
Yeah, she's doing gene therapy to try to remove her scars on her back.
Which I asked you while we were watching it. So is she like really, really burned here? Is this like a fucked up birthmark? Like, what is this thing?
They don't really get too much into it.
They don't.
I feel like she was in a fire, but I can't remember if they actually said that or not. If I made that up in my head.
I was paying attention. I didn't hear any of that.
But
she just talks about her scars a lot.
But she's also not as scarred up as you think she is.
Like, it's her shoulder and like a quarter of her back.
There's a part where they're hanging out at her house and she's wearing like short sleeves and you can't see anything. It's like, wait, I thought it was worse than this. In my head, she's like really covered in scars.
There was, I think, one scene where they were by the tree outside and she's kind of wearing a shorter sleeve thing and it's kind of poking out from there. That's it.
In any case, yes, they're trying to do something to remove her scars because, like any teenage girl, it is something she's very, very self-conscious about.
Right, and like when she was doing like the chanting when they're back in somebody's room, I felt for her. I started to tear up a little bit because I could feel the emotions coming out of her. And like her saying, please do something about my scars.
Please take them.
Please take my scars. Please take my scars.
Please.
And as a teenage girl, you're very, very focused on your appearance. And clearly once she gets rid of the scars, she is free. Like this is the one thing that is holding her back from being her true self. And now that that's gone, she can finally do it.
Except her true self is kind of a bitch. Like, once she gets rid of the scars, she's just like, hey, honey, nice ass.
That's not being a bitch. That's just being horny.
Okay, well, it's scratching the surface of some of the ways she acts post-scars.
Fine.
So we've got her in this movie. Someone else who you did not know was in this movie was Skeet Ulrich.
Nope.
He plays Chris. So again, a weird thing for me, especially because I saw Scream before I saw The Craft. So to have him and Neve Campbell in this movie.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a funny coincidence that they made two movies of varying degrees of success. I don't think this movie in particular was the one that put them on the map.
No.
But to have Scream come out not that many months later.
But again, a lot of these kids from these, like the Party of Five thing, Jennifer Love Hewitt was in a bunch of those movies. They made I Know What You Did Last Summer. All of those actors made multiple movies all together.
Fair enough. But yeah, Skeet Ulrich is playing Chris, who is a guy who starts flirting with Sarah, and they go on a date, and he actually, at the beginning, asks if he can kiss her. Like, if you're paying attention, he says, you've got a great head. I like your head. It's good for kissing. Can I? So he actually asks if he can.
I don't remember him saying that, but I trust you.
He does. And then it immediately turns into, if you don't sleep with me, I'll tell everyone you're a terrible lay.
Right.
And then by the end of the movie, because he's under a spell, he literally attacks her. So
his true self continues to come out.
He is fucking
even under a spell.
Terrible. He sucks. Yeah. Chris sucks. And I do not know why she is into this guy.
I don't know either.
Other than, he just, I guess he's objectively cute and you're just really into him. I don't know.
I don't know, but it is another teenage girl thing. I think I've never been a teenage girl. I never will be. But I think it is that kind of an attitude from somebody this age wanting to be with the jock.
He's the cool guy. He's the coolest guy on campus, as it were.
I guess.
Yeah, but he sucks.
He sucks.
He's there and he does die at the end because he gets shoved out a window. Does he deserve to die? No. But he's not a nice person.
No, he deserves to be punished for doing what he did, even like under a spell or not.
Because he was kind of almost there without being under a spell.
Right.
Another person in this movie you did not know was Christine Taylor.
Yeah.
So this is around the time she would have done the Brady Bunch movie, and that would have probably been her biggest thing. And she also sucks in this movie.
I think she fits her character better than anybody else in this movie.
Don't tell her that because she's playing a racist.
Wow, does she ever?
She is a rich white bitch who is just tormenting Rochelle.
Yeah.
And her comeuppance says her hair starts to fall out. They cast a spell on her and she starts going bald.
And the only thing that I would say that would have been better with that is if there was some kind of background about, oh, I love my hair, or she was voted best hair, or something about her loving her hair.
I mean, have you seen her hair?
Her hair is great.
She has great hair in this.
That's what I'm saying, though. If you just throw in one little extra thing, or like have a scene of her brushing her hair at the window or something. I don't know.
They kind of did, because she says, oh, gross, there's a pubic hair in my brush.
Oh, right.
So, like, she's actually in the process, I think, of brushing her hair at that point.
Or was going to. Okay,
But
fine.
again, it's that thing of, you don't really need the dialogue because she's a teenage girl and a cheerleader type, like an athlete in the very least.
Yeah, she's a diver.
Yeah, and so she is just kind of obsessed with herself, and she's a mean, mean bitch.
Indeed.
So when her hair starts falling out, at first you're just like, yeah, bitch, your hair falls out, you deserve it. But then later on, she's like crying in the shower.
She's half bald.
And you cannot help but feel bad for her. Like, it has gone so far, and she's just crying and shaking. It just keeps falling out. It just keeps falling out, and she doesn't know what to do. And the last time we see her in the movie, she is fully wearing a wig, and she actually tries to make amends with Rochelle. And Rochelle is a nasty person to her.
Mm-hmm.
She says, how's it going? Like, just trying to be a nicer human being.
But also, Rochelle sees the error of her ways. When she sees her in the shower, she kind of recoils from it and like, oh my God, what have I done?
But then later at the party, when she actually tries to talk to her, Rochelle's like, fine. Like, why are you talking to me?
Did she really?
She does. She
I
was
don't
just
remember
like,
that.
hey, Rochelle, how's it going? And she's like, fine. Like, ew, why are you talking to me? Yeah, it's that thing about,
I must have missed that.
you always have to be nice. It does, I understand. This woman has been terrible to you. It doesn't mean you have to be terrible back. It seems completely counterintuitive, and you want to stand up for yourself and you want to fight back, but there's a difference between standing up for yourself and just perpetuating the bitchiness.
Yeah, like I wanted there to be some kind of turnaround for these girls. I wanted Rochelle to see the error of her ways and maybe try like Sarah does to reverse the spell. But when we find out from the older witch, it's not so easy. So maybe there should have been more effort made to make amends.
But even by the end of the movie, the two of them are left. They go to Sarah's house and they're just like, we just wanted to apologize because it went kind of far. But also, since we're here, do you still have any powers? Because we don't have any powers anymore.
Right.
And then when they walk away, bet she doesn't even have any powers anyway.
Yeah.
So they're completely unchanged.
Yeah,
even
that sucks. I don't like that.
Post powers, they still suck.
Yeah. Jeez.
But I think we need to talk some more about Nancy. So I know some people who freaking love The Craft. And in particular, they love Nancy. Like, Nancy inhabits a large part of their memory bank and their personality. They're like, I am Nancy and she is me.
I can see that because Fairuza Balk just completely embodies this character. Like, we were reading that she did a whole bunch of research into the occult, let's say, and for people who are actually living in this life, down to the fact where, like, her entire look, her hair, her makeup, her skin, her attitude, everything is in this character. And even in a lot of other roles that she's done over the years, she's kind of the same person.
She's always a little bit of a goth girl.
Yeah.
Like, even in Return to Oz. So this is a movie I know you have not watched.
And we're not going to.
It is a sequel to The Wizard of Oz that they made in the 80s. And where the original one from the 1930s is like sunny and technicolor and you know,
Whimsical.
rainbows and whimsy and music. This one is a fucking nightmare. Like, I shit you not. The villain of the piece is a queen who has a hallway full of decapitated heads.
Sweet.
And she switches out her heads. Like, she takes her own head off and grabs a different one. And at one point, she is awoken from her sleep and she has no head. So a headless body is chasing 8-year-old Dorothy down a hallway.
Okay, maybe we do need to watch this.
It is completely fucking insane. And Fairuza Balk plays Dorothy. And I didn't know that for many years after seeing The Craft. I think I actually may have seen that movie post-Craft. But yeah, she even in that is this pale, dark-haired girl with these giant crystal blue eyes.
Yeah, the giant eyes and the giant mouth. Oh my god, you can see every one of her teeth.
Well, and the way she talks, she moves her lips in this really crazy way.
Yeah, and
that you just want to stare at her mouth while she speaks.
I was.
Yeah.
I mean, add on to all of the different makeup that she has on too, like the multicolored lipstick she has.
Oh,
it's not all black.
No, she has like a lip liner.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's got a lot of eyeliner, and her hair even has like red in it if you're looking really closely. Yeah. And she just gets more and more crazed, and her look gets more crazed.
The white makeup and everything else. I also read their outfits start to become a lot more, let's just say, slutty.
That's a fair word.
Over the course of the movie. And I think somebody said, like, as the movie goes on, their skirts get shorter.
Yeah, pretty much. They're very covered up, and they kind of want to be invisible and blend in.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, like, they all have
They're all out and proud.
very busty, very tight clothes, very short skirts. And it's the Catholic schoolgirl thing where they're all wearing like thigh-high tights and big chunky boots and big chunky shoes.
And not to keep on comparing this to Charmed, because this is my only reference point, but in that show, it is a bunch of other beautiful women. They're a lot older. They're women. But in that one, again, they're embracing the sexiness. They're embracing the cleavage and everything else. And in this one, they can't really do that because, hey, it's teenagers in high school.
They can only go so far. They go to a Catholic school. There is a uniform, despite the fact they're barely following the rules.
You're right. But in Charmed, like, they can't really do the goth thing. All of them just dress normally, but they dress in a way that is more going to attract maybe somebody like me to watch the show.
An adult male man.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a reference here where they said the influence they wanted, the vibe they were going for, was they wanted these girls to look like they were in The Cure. Which, you know, coming off the 1980s, I get it. If you look, just Google The Cure, and you can understand that, yes, there are some comparisons that you could make between that band and these girls.
Yeah, and even like down to like some of the soundtrack here.
Oh,
like,
the soundtrack's great.
The soundtrack is great. I kind of figured there was going to be a lot more 90s music that I recognized, and there really wasn't. Like, Sponge was the only band that I recognized. Down to the fact that the theme song of Charmed is actually a cover of the song that was in the trailer for this movie that was done by the Smiths.
Well, I think in the trailer, it's actually the same version from Charmed.
Is it?
I can't remember. We did watch a trailer for this, but...
We did, yeah.
Yeah, it's that song. I just don't remember which version.
But it's based on a Smith song.
That's how we went down this rabbit hole to begin with.
It is. Like, we were literally watching something. It's like, geez, is that the theme from Charmed?
I don't know. I've never seen Charmed.
No, you have not. And maybe we need to address that someday.
Maybe. But yes, the outfits are great. Like, there are some looks in this where I'm just like, you know, I know this movie is almost 30 years old, but I like that outfit. If I could pull it off, I'd wear it.
You keep on saying the 90s are back.
Well, no, the 2000s are back now.
That too, yeah.
We've been doing this long enough that we're now in the 2000s, and I hate it.
Our high school is back.
It's freaking me out.
I was recognizing a lot of the outfits, especially the dudes' hairstyles.
In this movie?
Just looking at the high school halls, totally.
Well, the one of them is Breckin Meyer, who looks exactly the same in like every 90s movie he's in.
Yeah.
He was in Clueless, he's in this. I don't know anything else from around this time. Everything else I know him from was when he cut his hair short.
Okay. Whatever.
He didn't look like this anymore, and it made me sad.
Well, one of these ladies we haven't really talked about all that much, and I think by design, because we barely talked about Rochelle. And Rochelle as a character, I think, is completely underused, and again, by design of the filmmakers here, because even after the fact, when they were doing their press tour, when they were like, there was an MTV Movie Awards thing, and the three other girls were invited to these things and were prominently featured in the marketing for this movie. She was not.
Oh, you mean the white girls were put out front?
Yeah.
And she was not?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some bullshit.
I mean, I know there's a giant age difference because the gal who played Rochelle was 29 years old.
Okay, but she doesn't look it. I was today years old when I found out she was almost 30.
She does not look like it, but the fact that she was disinvited from a lot of the marketing things. And like I said, there was an MTV Movie Awards where just the other 3 showed up on stage and the other gal wasn't. She wasn't even invited.
Yeah, I don't quite get that. Like, it's...
Oh, yes, you do.
There's clearly some connotations there, but it's like, why? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Because you have 4 girls on the poster. You should have 4 girls at all these events.
Yeah.
It's just fucking math. It's just simple.
But even the character herself in the movie is kind of inconsequential. Her side story of her being on the diving team went nowhere.
It's just to demonstrate that she is being bullied. That is the only reason that that's there. You just
Very
need,
much so.
Where does she keep running into her bully while they're on the swim team together?
Honestly, you could have probably taken out her entire character, number 1, the side story with the girl who was losing her hair, completely out of the movie, and it would have been the same movie.
Well, they need it for the 4 because they want north, south, east, and west.
But like I keep on saying, the power of 3 and all these other witch things, that is an important thing. Why didn't you go that way? That's how Charmed is.
Yeah, but because it's a third wheel, you'd have 2 friends by themselves practicing witchcraft for a third one to show up.
Yes.
No.
You could absolutely do that.
No, well, you're making a counter argument for why she should not be included in this, but she is included in
All
this.
I'm saying is that I think she needed to have more to do.
It's a short movie. It's not even a 2-hour movie. I think they probably cut a bunch from this.
When you have 4 characters, you need 4 stories with all of those characters, and her side story sucked.
Okay, but like Bonnie's story is just, she is inexplicably scarred, and then she's not. That's her entire story. Yeah. There's much less there than anywhere else.
I think that they needed to flesh that out too, no pun intended, with her mother. And like, it seems like her mother is almost forcing her into this. You could have expanded upon that and say, like, Bonnie has a real issue with self-esteem, and she's being very reclusive and having all of these other kinds of friends that aren't necessarily social, and like, we're really worried about her. You could have done so many things with that whole thing.
So what you're saying is you don't like how they wrote this movie?
Kinda, yeah.
All right, that's fine. You're allowed to have that opinion.
I mean, as long as we're talking about things that bother me, I mean, this is not having to do with how the movie is written or anything. There is a whole lot of ADR dialogue, especially in the first half of the movie.
Okay.
It sounded fucking awful.
Yes, there are some scenes where Robin Tunney is speaking, and I'm just like, were you just muttering your lines, or was it too loud outside because we're doing it on film and that's just what happens?
I think that what it is, they are outside, and you just could not hear them over the din of whatever else is happening, so they had to redo their lines later.
Yeah, that is one of those things that it's like, this looks weird. This feels weird.
This is a fucking studio movie. You can't get good audio equipment. You're figuring this out on the fly.
Yes.
And it gets better as the movie is going.
No.
And in the trivia stuff we read, they shot this in sequence.
Pretty much.
Literally, they got better as they went along.
Well, I would have to look into it. My assumption with most movies like this, where the guy who directed it also wrote it, there is a frequent occurrence that they're a first-time director, or at least a first-time director for a major motion picture.
Sure.
They've maybe done some smaller things before.
Learning on the job.
And yeah, it turns into learning on the job.
Mm-hmm. And okay, one last very minor thing. I said this while we were watching the movie, and I don't think you had much of an explanation. At the party near the end of the movie where Chris dies, when Nancy brings him up to the bedroom, there is a fire going in this fireplace that is completely unattended.
Yes, it is.
I am going to be really hard on this because, God damn it, who the hell is watching this fire? Why did they start a fire in there? This is a party with a bunch of teenagers. Who decided to start a fire?
I love that this is the problem you have with this
I am a responsible adult, and I'm not going to leave a fire unattended.
Someone has lit a flame, and there's not even anyone in that room, and they just came in and the fire was going. Who is taking care of the fire?
I don't care that there is a garden
what
between.
What if the house burns down? This is irresponsible.
I saw Manchester by the Sea. I don't want to have that happen.
Oh, don't bring that up. Don't do that.
All right. No, that is all I had, Betsy. I had a good time watching this movie. I am glad that I finally have watched this and can experience it with you. I don't think you've ever mentioned this movie to me. I want to know your history with it. Like you said you watched a whole bunch when you were a kid.
So the first time I saw this, I was probably I was probably in high school. I think I was in like 9th or 10th grade.
That late, okay.
I think my sister borrowed it from somebody because I distinctly remember having a copy of it. And I was like, what's this movie? And so I watched it. And when you're like 14 or 15 years old, this movie kicks ass. Like when you are in the 90s or at the end of the 90s, early 2000s, and you're also a teenage girl, and you're somebody who in high school was not that popular. You get to
Went
see
to a
these
Catholic school.
You get to see these girls kicking ass and being powerful, and you want and wish for like supernatural things in your own life so that you can be empowered and take control.
And all of it comes very easily to these girls.
Yes. So I saw this movie, and it was one of the first movies I bought when I was building my film collection.
Wow.
I had this on VHS, baby. For a long time, I had like 3 movies. It was like The Mummy, The Craft, and Ever After. It was like, that was the beginnings. My baby movie collection started there. Like, I genuinely,
That's funny.
This was I can tell you definitively, this was one of the first movies I bought for my collection.
All right.
And so I watched it a lot for a lot of years. But with all things, especially since my copy was a VHS and I don't have a VCR anymore, I kind of grew out of it. I stopped watching it.
Sure.
But I think about this movie all the time. Like when Nancy says, tricky, tricky, tricky. Do you know how many times I say that in my world? That one, there's the scene where Breckin Meyer is in the hallway and he's like, she's gonna cry. And then I'm gonna cry, and we're all gonna cry. Like, there's just little bits of dialogue from this movie that summon up inside of me. Like, you're sorry, you're sorry, you're sorry, you're sorry, you're sorry. Or, it's not real. Then why are you still bleeding? This is all just inside of my body.
All right,
I have seen it enough times that the craft has become a part of me. It is not fully campy, but it's borderline silly. And
it's more campy than Jennifer's Body is, I'll say that.
And it's taking itself very seriously. It's not a great movie. Like, The Craft is not a great movie, but it's also an amazing movie.
They knew what they were making in this movie.
Like, if you are a girl my age, this is probably a movie you enjoyed when you were a girl in the 90s.
And like I said at the beginning, taking the goth movement back 20 years or whatever I said, I know for a fact that there were so many different goth babies born from this movie.
Yeah, take it the other way.
Yeah.
You say it set the movement back. I say it brought the movement to the present.
Now, that's the thing. I think it inspired a lot of goth babies to be born. I don't believe that it helped the goth movement become a mainstream thing like it is today.
I don't think goths are mainstream per se.
Have you seen Instagram, Betsy? Maybe it's just my feed.
You're definitely on the wrong feed. Yeah, I see very different content than you. That's the thing about the algorithm. Whatever you start liking, they'll just give you more of that.
I said it at the beginning. I was kind of into that as a teenager. So
goth girls?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to disappoint you, Trent.
We talked about fucking tattoos and piercings and all that other shit in Empire Records. I'm into that.
You just have to learn to live with me, your wife, your spouse that you selected, who has no tattoos, no piercing. I don't drink because I'm boring. I'm very dull. I'm so sorry.
I'm just going to stop before I get myself in trouble. That is all I have to say.
Well, very good. Then that is going to do it for The Craft. We would love for you to tell us, were you a 14-year-old girl who loved goth shit or witches? Were you obsessed with Nancy? Is she you and you are her? Please tell us about it. Email us, neverseenitpod@gmail.com. You can also message us on social media. We got a few such responses about our most recent Never Scream It episode, Jennifer's Body. We got some, I would say, staunch defenders of this movie responding.
Yeah, I think the sentiment out there is a lot higher than where we landed on that one.
Yeah, not to say that we didn't like it, but we got the people who loved it responding.
Yeah.
So one of them was Seth, who messaged us saying, What do I think? I think it's a modern masterpiece, and I think Fox is incredibly funny in this, and I think Bay ran a smear campaign against her, along with misleading marketing, derailed this movie, and I think... And that's where he cut off because he responded on Twitter, which has a limit.
He's also doing jokes. I listened to their episode. Seth does a podcast with his friend Michelle called Movie Friends, and they covered this movie kind of early on in their podcast, where they kind of go into the backstory behind the conflicts between like Michael Bay and Megan Fox and the strife that they went through, and he like tried to destroy her career and all this other shit. Yeah, they go into some places here.
Giving some context for reasons this movie could have bombed at the box office.
Maybe, and we'll never really know because there's a lot of back and forth about that, but I totally get where Seth is coming from. We just didn't see it the way you see it.
I said it in that episode. I would have to watch this one again. I'm not opposed to watching this again.
Totally.
I just didn't get it the first time around. Sometimes movies grab you right away and they become your favorite movie. Sure. Other times, I just gotta watch it and absorb it.
And I can totally see how somebody would take the things that, the good things that we were talking about, they would take that, grasp onto it, and never let go. I get that.
Well, we have a counter opinion to this. Not that it's a bad movie, but certainly not someone who loved it. We also got an email about Jennifer's Body from our superfan Stephanie. She says, I agree that this movie is better than the trailers. Yeah, the trailers misrepresent completely what this movie is.
Totally.
It just doesn't quite stick the landing for me either. I wonder if maybe the screenplay is better, but it got edited or changed in the filming. There are some very fun and clever scenes. The Brody Bunch moment is hilarious. Megan Fox does get some good lines, but she also has some truly dumb lines. More camp would have been more fun.
Yeah, I wanted them to go further down that road.
The wardrobe in general is so damn 2009. The dance wardrobe is kind of inexplicable. Why is Needy dressed that way?
But you know what? The rest of the people there, kind of, if I am remembering correctly, everybody else kind of looked normal.
They just dress like you do in 2009 when you're going to the spring formal.
I guess.
It's a choice. That's all we're saying.
Yeah.
She continues, I really love that Needy and Chip's sex scene is so incredibly awkward, so funny. There are some good ideas here, but I just don't think it completely comes together. There are a lot of things that are not explained. Amy Sedaris and J.K. Simmons could have been utilized more or better.
Yeah.
In other words, this movie is better than I thought it would be, but I have not felt the need to revisit it because it is not that great. It is now spooky month, so we have been watching spooky movies. And she proceeds to give us the list of all the movies she has watched to date this month. For as of when we got this email, anyhow.
And as of this recording, yes.
So, October 1st was Coco.
Yep.
October 2nd, Creep. October 3rd, The Pope's Exorcist.
Which I have heard good things about.
Then Little Monsters, Viking Wolf, Us, and Cadaver. All of these are decent, but I highly recommend Little Monsters and Creep. Cadaver was a new one for us, but really liked it. Yeah, she's recommended Little Monsters a couple times before, I think in emails.
I didn't even remember what that is.
It's on Hulu or Amazon, I don't remember, and it's like a teacher with a bunch of kids, and there's a zombie apocalypse or something that happens.
Okay.
I don't exactly know.
The title Little Monsters implies that this movie is actually for kids. I have no idea whether or not it's made for kids or not.
I think it is, in fact, a zombie movie.
Okay.
But since we haven't seen it, I cannot confirm.
Yeah, most of those that you just listed off, I've not heard of. I know Coco, we covered it for the show. Creep, that could be anything. I don't think I know what that is. Pope's Exorcist, that's that Russell Crowe movie, right?
Yep, so that's the newest one so far, I think.
I've heard good things about that. We talked about Little Monsters. Viking Wolf, again, a very generic name. Could be anything. Us, of course I know what Us is, and Cadaver just sounds like a great time.
Sure. Why not?
I don't know.
She always manages to find the gems.
Yeah.
She also manages to find a lot of garbage from her own telling of it. But that's the thing with the horror and the spooky and the genre in general.
It's a high ceiling and a very low basement.
Right. So you can have one amazing movie, but for every amazing movie, there's probably 20 to 500 terrible movies.
Emphasis on 500. Yeah.
But yes, thank you to both Seth and Stephanie for telling us what you think about Jennifer's Body. We would love to hear from more of you about that movie, about The Craft, any of the other movies we've covered recently, or any of the movies we have covered to date at all. We've got quite a few episodes dating back a few years, so we don't care if you're starting at the beginning. Send us an email about one of those. That email again, neverseenitpod@gmail.com. You can reach out to us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We are now also on Blue Sky if you want to send us a message on there.
Yep.
You can share our posts and tell your friends all about us. But most of all, we would love if you go to your podcast app of choice, rate us 5 stars, write us a review, and tell more people about Never Seen It, because all of those things get us in front of more people to listen.
Tell all your freaky friends who like this shit that we're covering a bunch of this stuff, and the fact that we go back 3 years.
That is going to do it for this episode. We've got a special episode coming up on Wednesday because this week is Trent's birthday.
Yeah.
He has picked out a movie, let's just say it's a significant movie.
Yeah, it's a big one.
That neither of us has watched, at least in its entirety. I will get into more context to that on Wednesday.
But
we also have Never Scream It continuing on all 5 Sundays in October. So we're at the halfway point now. Join us next Sunday for episode number 4. We're going backwards in time, a little farther to the 80s, and we're watching The Fly.
1983's The Fly, David Cronenberg's The Fly from 1983, starring the one and only Jeff Goldblum.
Yes, so that is going to be our next Never Scream It episode. We've got a few more other episodes on the Wednesdays, so tune in for all this. We're having a lot of fun this month, and we're looking forward to bringing you those episodes.
Yeah, and thanks for staying with us.
But for now, this has been another episode of Never Seen It. My name is Betsy.
And my name is Trent.
And we will catch you next time.
Bye-bye.